Ice shower increased from 20 to 30. What? You can jump out of it anyway. Why would you nerf an ability you can jump out of? Oh my gosh, bro. Amazon, why would you nerf it? You can just jump out of it anyway. Oh, man. Why not increase it from like 20 to 22? Or maybe to 24? That's a 50% nerf to ice shower. You can just roll through it if you guys didn't know either. They put the cooldown to 30 seconds for an ability that you can just roll through. Because noobs on the forums are like,
oh, dude, I can't get through it. What? Dude, what? Bro, nerf, bro, what? Oh, I don't want to go around it, dude. That's gonna take way too much time. Let me just. Oh, dude, nerf him.
We should tweak it by like 10%. Make it 22 seconds and see how that feels. Why are we going from 20 to 30? What is going on here? Heavy freeze now roots now have a 5-second cooldown. Now this is, I'm not okay with this one. I'm okay with the rest of these. I am not okay with this one. This is the only thing Ice Gauntlet has going for it. And by the way, you can already jump out of the root. You can already jump out of it. So good players have already countered it. You don't need to nerf this. You can jump out of it. You just press spacebar and you're out of the root. You don't even need to nerf this. Oh, man. Yep, can't heavy freeze someone over and over, but if you spam left click with a great axe, you can spam just leap at someone. Yep, let's put a 5-second cooldown on that and see how melee players feel. Yeah, I'll just put a 5-second cooldown on a lunge. Apparently, heavy attacks also take longer to go off, so you can't even like...
Oh yeah, dude, that's my favorite part. It was the little cherry on top, bro.
So
like,
you can't
just like,
you
hey,
can't land a heavy in an ice storm or an ice shower before they get out.
It was just a little thing that they just added on there.
If you're a good life staff player, you can live against 7, 8, 9, 10 enemy players solo as a life staff. That's not cool. Monies has literally not died once this game. Monies is a beast.
They got a ballista and a cannon.
Monies is an absolute beast.
Can't afford a repeater. Put it down on the left side over here.
He literally hasn't died yet.
And let's shoot at that ballista.
How is he living? Look at that. Yeah, this is definitely a deal breaker. Like, if mage feels like just complete shit, you can't win a 1v1 against anything. And when I say can't win a 1v1 against anything, what I mean to say is when two equally skilled players go in a duel against each other, the mage can't win, right? Like, if I fight a really good Great Axe player and lose 100 in a row, that's not fun, you know? Right now, if I duel a really good Great Axe player, it's like 50-50. You know, I'll win some, I'll lose some. If I fight Todd, who's really good, if I fight Riken, who's really good, if I fight like Sony, who's really good, if I fight some Great Axe players that own, I'll win some and I'll lose some. Right now, as it is, currently, in the game, without any nerfs, right? But with the nerfs, it's just, it swings it to 100-0. I don't think anyone, like, those are the stats. You are way too biased. I mean, I just disagree, man. Like, I get owned by Great Axe Hammer players that are good. And I don't think, let me clarify, I don't think they should be nerfed even though I get owned by it. Because you have to be good for it to work, first of all. I think things should be strong in their own right. I don't think if something's strong, you nerf it. If you slowly tweak things, if they're overperforming, but you don't just do a giant nerf bat because you lost a duel. You know what I mean? In a vacuum, mages should never lose to Great Axe Warhammer. I disagree. After fighting some of the best Great Axe Warhammer players, I think the duel should be about 50-50 unless one or the other is better. The best mages in the world versus the best Great Axe Hammer should be around a 50-50 duel, which is awesome, you know, which is great. But nerfing, just completely gutting Ice Gauntlet and buffing Great Axe is laughable, yeah. I think you can actually jump out of Heavy Root as well, yeah. Yeah, you can jump out of it. Normally, you can jump out of Gravity Well, just like out of Roots. Fuck! You can't jump out of gravity well, and you can't even jump when you're in it. But if I root someone like that, they can just jump out. The devs have to be playing Great Axe. Test the heavy again, you jump before you rooted them. Well, that's what everyone does. Who isn't jumping when you root them? Noobs. Noobs aren't, right? So that's my point, dude. You can fucking jump out of it, but no, nerf it might have 50%, bro. Like, what the fuck? And yeah, I think mages in world PvP are gonna get obliterated by players way worse than them. Like, people are like, oh, bro, it's a free win when you land a heavy. No, it's not. Press spacebar and shift and you're immune. Man, the problem is everything just feels like trash, dude. Like every weapon just feels like trash. And that's one of the mistakes that WoW made. Is like they nerfed everything to where everything felt shitty and then nothing was fun, so that it was really boring, versus making everything feel OP and then the game's really fun. They're just going the wrong direction. Like, you don't want to nerf everything that feels strong. You want to buff the things that feel weak. Like, Ice Gauntlet just feels like a shadow of what it used to be, which makes it just feel shitty to play. Void Gauntlet just feels really shitty in general. But then some of the weapons that were already strong that didn't get nerfed are just gonna take over. But then they might just nerf those too, and then everything feels like shit. This is definitely a pretty big turning point in the game. Like, if they go through with this, it's rough, man. Like, you definitely need to buff the things that are underperforming, but not nerf the things that are strong. And once again, I went into this saying Fire Staff is strong, and it either needs like nerfs or stay the same. Definitely doesn't need buffs, but if you keep it the same, then you gotta buff the underperforming stuff, like this Rapier. Like, Rapier was underperforming, now they're buffing it, great. But that means you don't need to change Fire Staff. If you're buffing Rapier, you're buffing Musket, you're buffing Spear, you're buffing Hatchet, you're buffing Sword, you're buffing Hammer, you definitely don't need to nerf Fire Staff. Or if you are gonna nerf it, maybe just like one of these line items. Oh my gosh, oh my gosh, oh my gosh. I can't believe it, man. Like, before, if I fought a good Great Axe, it was like 50-50. Now, it just feels like it's not even the same game. Like, I am just... Yeah. No, before it was like a 50-50, but now it's like... Now it just feels like I'm playing a fucking different video game than they are. Yeah, I don't know, guys. Is this what you want to see when it's... Is this what you want to see? Like, mage versus a Great Axe, and that's what happens? Is that what you want to see? Like, it's not even a duel anymore. Like, you can't even burst them. You can't do anything. Yeah, I liked playing mage, guys, because I'm a mage. Like, I don't... Like, if there was no Ice Gauntlet in this game or Fire Staff in this game, I wouldn't play, you know? I like playing my mage. Like, that's literally all it comes down to. It's not much more complicated than that. Like, I should be able to play the playstyle that I want, you know? And if you are gonna nerf something, I don't think you'd nerf multiple 50%ers, right? Like, this is 50% less effective. This is 33% less effective. This is 30-ish% less effective. This is 25% less effective. And you're nerfing all of them. And then this is just 100% less effective or 99% less effective. You pick one of those, right? Like, so if you want to nerf Ice Gauntlet, what you do is you put in this Ultimate Chill nerfed, and then you see how that feels, and you see the metagame. Now, on top of that, what you should do is buff other things. Like, so the buff to Rapiers, I applaud. I think it's actually really good buffs to Rapier because they were underperforming. Now it's gonna be really scary to fight a Rapier. That's great, right? So what you do is you put a slight tweak to something overperforming, like you do something like this, or you do something like this, and you nerf it, so one-liner. But then you buff the underperforming stuff like Rapier, like Musket, like Spear, that's good. you know? And then you just let the game go for another couple weeks, you know, another week or two, and see how the metagame develops. See what happens here, right? And then from there, if you need to nerf another thing, then sure, go for it. And then maybe it's Ice Gauntlet is still owning everyone. And then maybe you know, give it a little extra tweak. And then maybe you give something that's underperforming another extra buff. But doing all of this at once, like, this is laughable. This is like crazy to me. You know, like, this is way too many nerfs. Way too many nerfs. You know? So yeah, I think that it's just way overboard. Way overboard. On top of that, I think just to finish off, in terms of design philosophy, I think each weapon should feel good in its specific use case. So, for example, musket does really well at like 500 yards or however, you know, really long distance fights. So if I'm an Ice Gauntlet user and I'm fighting a musket at 500 yards, I'm going to get annihilated. Like I should, because I don't pick a fight against a musket with an Ice Gauntlet at far range. You just don't do that because musket is a far range weapon. On the flip side of that coin, if you're using Ice Gauntlet is very good close range, right? You have Ice Shower, you have Ice Storm, you have big shatter combos, right? Ice Gauntlet is a very good close range weapon. If you're a rapier player, don't pick a fight with an Ice Gauntlet player close range. You're gonna get owned, right? Or if you do, you have to be very smart about it, right? You're gonna have to bait out Ice Shower. If you get caught, jump out. You have to iframe immune certain things. You have to play well or you're gonna get owned, right? In my opinion though, I think it's really good for weapons to be great in one area, and terrible in another area, right? Let's look at another example. Spear has the most CC in the game, most stuns in the game, but it doesn't have as much damage, right? So Spear is something that you can really use to combo something, right? Hammer has some of the most, you know, a lot of stuns, but also a good amount of damage. Great Axe, most mobility with Bloodlust, right? Bow does pretty well close to medium range, but longer range, it's hard to land your attacks, but it hits the hardest when you do, right? So I think a lot of things should be strong in certain instances and weak in others, right? But to nerf the use case in which they're strong doesn't really make much sense at all. I want to sincerely apologize for getting like upset today and like tilted. It's not the type of streams I like to have. I think it's just triggering to love something so much and have it taken away from you. And in WoW, I loved Deep Freeze so much. It was my favorite ability and they took it away. And then this game, my favorite ability was Heavy Freeze and they took it away. And it really sucks. You know, you play a video game because one ability is so fun and then they just have it yoinked. Just sucks. So I'm gonna try to have fun in other ways, but it's too strong. You must consider people who melee they can't deal with fire and ice too OP. That's just blatantly incorrect, man. Yeah, melee has a great chance versus fire and ice. You just have to know how to dodge and jump and play well. Yeah, that's completely just wrong, factually incorrect. And it's people like you with posting on the forums that got it nerfed. So that's upsetting. Absolutely.